Hour 2 Overdrive continues, brought to you by FanDuel, bringing you everything from the opening line to the final score. Bryan Hayes, the O-Dog, Jeff O'Neill, Jonas Siegel of The Athletic, TSN 1050, your home smart speaker, the TSN app, TSN 4. You can find us everywhere. Right, Jonas? It's got to be exciting for you. It's got to be exciting stuff.
So excited. I'm just looking at Blue Jays draft picks.
Okay, so you're trying to find...
Not looking good, like just generally.
Give us someone else other than Stroman.
I can't find many.
Well, remember the
Just
report
generally
that when Shapiro showed up, he was all bent out of shape, that Anthopoulos had traded all these prospects.
Don't rile people up with even saying that guy's name.
Anthopoulos is really a name that I don't think people want to hear anymore because he's so good.
Yes.
He's a champion.
Dude, I thought just stupid thinking fan out loud. After that last year, I was like, just go call the guy up and say, what will it take to get you back here?
Mm-hmm.
Like as a PR stunt, not a PR stunt because he's an unbelievable baseball guy. He's proven that with what he's assembled down there in Atlanta. Like everyone talks about the Dodgers, just give the trophy to the Dodgers. Atlanta's going to have something to say about it at the end of the day.
Oh, I totally agree with that.
Like he has a stacked team down there. He's got some injuries to deal with right now, but
no, they're locked in.
I was thinking, go get him back. Have that bring him back, and.
But the thing is, he's not coming back with Shapiro here. He's
kidding.
Coming back.
He wants the whole shebang.
The only way Alex Anthopoulos is ever coming back is if it's you are running everything. You don't.
He has that in Atlanta, and he has a great team. Why would he ever come back?
I agree. I think that ship has sailed, and
maybe you just pay him whatever it takes.
Well, you can do that.
Great idea.
Right? Because you always heard reports that teams were calling on Masai when the Raptors were in a really good place. Mm-hmm. And what happened? The Raptors were like, we'll figure that out, and then we'll pay him. And they paid him a lot of money.
Masai will start sniffing now with a 5-year rebuild in place?
I am curious what's going to happen there. And especially with the reporting on Tannenbaum, that Larry Tannenbaum may leave in the next couple of years. Mm-hmm. What would happen? Because by all accounts... Like Masai Ujiri runs through
He's
Larry.
cashing out at 80 years old.
Yeah, exactly. But he still seems to be pretty motivated to stay in the sports world, right? Like he's launched, I believe, a separate company that is pursuing a WNBA team, and I think he wants to stay in the world of sports, and he's really well connected. Obviously, he's been the face of Maple Leaf Sports and Entertainment.
He's lifted some trophies.
He's been on a lot of boards. He can get any commissioner in any sport around the world on the phone within minutes. Like, that's the power that comes with being someone like Larry Tannenbaum is you can call up anybody in sports around the world and say, my name's Larry Tannenbaum. I'd like to talk to you. They will call you back quickly. You may not get a yes for whatever you're seeking, but you will get a response. And I'll believe it when I see it that he actually does decide to move on. Or, Bell and Rogers decide to pick up his shares and buy him out effectively. But if that ends up happening, and he's not a young man, like you said, Larry Tannenbaum's not a young guy, what happens with Masai? What happens within the rankings of Maple Leaf Sports and Entertainment?
Wasn't it a big fight just to get Masai back internally?
That was a fight about the money, I think, where people were like, we really going to pay this guy 20 sheets a year to do this and looking at a possible rebuild moving forward? Yeah. I think there were certain parts of the structure up top that were like, I'm not down with that.
Yeah, I think
it's not hard to figure out who it was either.
Yes. Yeah, I think there were some disagreements. And now, look at where they are. They're in a bad place. Mm-hmm. Like the Raptors are in a really tough place. And they're relying on lottery balls to keep a pick here, and then they got to put pieces together, and they got some good young players, but they're not close to competing.
I think Masai would not that he would turn his back on it, but I don't think he wants any part of this thing moving forward. To be quite honest with you, when you're one of those execs that is like the finisher type guy, I don't think he wants to do it.
He may not. He's getting paid to do it though. This is his job, and he's responsible for why they're here. He's not picking up the crumbs of what someone else left. This is Masai Ujiri's team. Yeah. Just as much as Masai's team won the championship, this is Masai's team that just won 25 games. Mm-hmm. It's equally his team. He gets way more credit naturally, as he should, for the title. He'll be remembered forever for the championship.
That's the only question is how much of a hall pass do you get for a championship?
Well, I can tell you, I'll give you a name. Well, I'll give you one guy who's ecstatic he's not here anymore, and that's Nick Nurse. Nick got out right at the perfect time.
He wouldn't want to do this.
No, he wouldn't be doing this. And he's in Philly, and they got a good team, and they're going to the playoffs.
Well, play in.
Play in. All right, we'll see.
We'll see.
That was because of
Miami.
Embiid's injury. I know. It was because of Embiid's injury. Like, that's how they ended up in the position they got in. All right, here's Mike Johnson, our TSN hockey analyst, joining us here on the Maple Toyota Hotline. What's happening, Johnny?
What's going on, boys? You know what? I enjoy the basketball talk because it's another reminder of just like how they had the ultimate success, obviously winning a championship. And so, like, Masai, the people who run the team, they get a pass for like a decade.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they're terrible this year. And certainly, you know, the bloom is off the rose as far as the interest and everything else, but no one's going to say Masai Ujiri is a bad executive because you climb the mountain the one time.
Yep.
So, you know, here at the Toronto Maple Leafs, who've been, by just about every metric, a more successful team than the Raptors the last 8 years, except the one obvious one where they've been nowhere near as successful. And that's why Brendan Shanahan isn't held in the same reverence as Masai Ujiri, even though, you know, they've both done, you know, pretty good jobs in their spot. It's all about the playoffs, which is difficult given that we're just a game away.
Yeah, it really is. It's a legacy maker. You win one time, you will have a job for life somewhere. You're going to be in the same. You're going to be in whichever respective city you won in. You're going to be there for quite some time. But the second you move on or they move on from you, you're going to get scooped up immediately. It really is. It's 2 months. It's a 2-month run that will change your whole life. And it's easier said than done. But
it is. But like, and for players, it gets you at least 5 more years in the league.
Yep.
It gets you probably a 30 to 40% premium on every contract you get going forward. Because now you are a, air quotes, Stanley Cup champion.
You're a winner.
I know you're a winner. You know you've been there. You can do it again. And and I almost wonder if the Leafs, though, because it's been so long, does it even take that much? Like, if they get to the conference final and they bow out in a very, you know, challenging series in the third round, like, does that change the perception of everybody? I think it does. I think it's.
Yeah, I think it likely does. I think it definitely changes the
thought.
Yeah,
of all the players here.
I think we're cut. We got you, Johnny. You're cutting out there a little bit.
Yeah. Sorry about that.
We heard you. It changes the. I can speak from the perspective of a fan base. It would make going into next year's playoffs a lot. It would be a very different vibe. Like, it would be bring on whoever you're going to bring on. They can beat anybody, because if you're going to be in a conference final this year, you presume you're beating Florida and Boston, and those are two massive pillars. So yeah, it would change the way everything is perceived, and certainly the way, you know, these players in the organization, I think, would probably act moving forward as well. But yeah, it's, you know, they got to get there first, and obviously they got 2 more games, and it's intriguing how this, you know, you got all these different storylines that are connecting here, where Matthews is going for 7, Joseph Wall is playing tonight, and also, if you beat Florida, you play Florida. If you lose to Florida, there's a chance you play Boston.
Does that factor into anything for you? Like, are you saying we want to play Florida, we don't want to play Florida?
Know.
Like,
what do you think, Johnny?
I don't know what to make of that. I mean, Florida beat them last year. Boston's beat them the last 2 years in the regular season every time, plus their own playoff history there. Like, it doesn't really seem like an obvious answer to pick one or the other. Sort of in my gut, it feels like Boston's a better matchup, even though they haven't had any success against them. The numbers probably don't bear that out. But I don't know. I think you just got to play and see what happens. I mean, it's likely going to be Florida anyways. They plan to prepare to stay here in Florida, play tomorrow night in Tampa, come back to Florida on Thursday and play on Saturday. So their preparation is the Panthers. I don't think it really matters one way or the other. I mean, is there a better matchup? I don't know if you can really pick one.
I think, Johnny, these guys just got to put it in their heads. It's just about them. If they got to slay the dragon of the Boston Bruins or the Florida Panthers, because it's the same beast. They're both big, physical. They know how to win. They've got character. They've got goaltending. And you got to do one or the other. So pick your poison. It doesn't matter. It's about them.
Oh, I like it. He always dialed in.
I should be a coach, man. I swear to God.
You
Buffalo.
You could be pre-game speaker.
Yeah.
Alone.
Kevin Adams is your guy. Go down to Buffalo. You love that city.
I do love Buffalo, but I'm going to do some motivational speaking coming up, but I don't know if I'm going to be a coach.
Okay. Living in a van down by the river?
No,
the river?
Idiot.
Yeah.
Just a steady
You just had to
diet
put a
of-
dumb spin on it.
I would suggest you even mentioning motivational speaking. That was the dumb spin. I just came over the top with something spinnier.
Dude, I'm telling you, I'm gonna start in the fall. I'm gonna talk.
What
to
is your
junior-
story going to be?
Huh?
What are you motivating? Like what has happened in your life that will be motivating?
I'm gonna tell junior kids about sitting on your porch at 4 a.m. wishing you had prepared more, wishing you had worked harder, and it sucks to think that things could have been better. And now I'm in a great state at 48 years old, and it's like, better late than never. But man, I wish I had done it 25 years ago.
That's actually pretty good
good.
stuff.
Yeah,
That's
no
pretty
kidding.
good
You're
stuff.
comparing Chris Farley, you idiot.
Yeah, I am, but that was not what I was expecting. There was a lot of depth there and a lot of good perspective. You're hired. Let's get this guy. Get him on the circuit. We need you on a full circuit.
Dude, when I get my first gig, you're invited.
I'll be there, man.
Yeah.
I will happily be there.
Dude, I swear to God, though, you would ruin it because I could see myself looking over and you'd be picking your nose or something, and I would just lose my
It would
mind.
be really. I wouldn't
It
be
would
paying
be bad.
attention.
Yeah.
There's no way I'd be paying
Yeah,
attention.
you would scratch your ass and sniff it. It would be something
Yeah.
outrageous.
I'd take a call right in the middle of it. Just something so ignorant. With Mike Johnson. Go ahead, Jonas.
Mike, Hayes. How do I follow that?
Top that
Top
one.
that one.
Hayes mentioned Joseph Wall starting. Do you think it's interesting at all that they didn't start Ilya Samsonov in this game against the team they might play? Like I think it's interesting. I don't know why, but what do you think?
Well, Florida's not starting Bob.
Yeah,
so
true.
It cuts both ways. Although Stolarz has had an incredible season as a backup to Sergei Bobrovsky, but it is a little bit in that, Samsonov's last couple starts haven't been as good as his previous dozen or whatever it's been since he's gotten back. I think the Leafs acknowledge, there is a confidence but not a certainty that Samsonov will play well. He's played well. He's got good results throughout the whole year. Been good since his recall. But they may need both goalies. Maybe need both goalies even in the first series. So I don't think it's about tipping their hand. I just think it's the reality that they're trying to get both guys feeling pretty good about their game before they get going on the weekend. So I would probably be one of those things where if Samsonov's your guy, I would tell him he's my guy. Tell him that he's the guy. And I'd ask him, do you want to play Wednesday or Tuesday? Do you want to play Wednesday? Do you want Tampa or do you want Florida? You're going to get one of the two, so you let me know. Or none of the two, whatever you want. We're kind of going to work with you and go from there. But he's been around. I'm not going to read too much into it other than the reality of Joseph Wall may play in the playoffs for the Maple Leafs at some point.
Johnny, what's the mandate for Auston Matthews? Does it go out and score in the first shift and then go take your gear off, or what's the deal there?
Honestly, if you could script it, not great for our broadcast, but that would be it, wouldn't it? Like
early. Ned Braden from Slapshot and start skating around taking your gear off.
I think that'd be great for your broadcast, man, to get that on camera, like him just waving to the boys and saying, I'm out of here.
Yeah.
That'd be incredible.
Just head right down the tunnel. Don't even stop. Like the walk-off homer, just right down the tunnel.
Sit at the elbow room with just your lower half on and just get creamed.
He's back at the elbow room with Max Domi just hanging out, watching the end of the game on the TV. Absolutely. That would be the plan. Sheldon has acknowledged even he got swept up in it, played him a ton of minutes against Detroit. It would have been crazy for him to get it at home in a tight game, maybe in overtime, whatever. But I think they don't want to play him 25 minutes. But they want to get it to him. And so goal scoring is not a thing you can force. It's not as easy. And McDavid made 100 assists look pretty easy, but it's not that easy to just go do. So I think the message will be just play. Not to Austin, as much to himself and the rest of the team. Just play. Play normally. Don't force pucks. Don't overextend shifts. Don't cheat. Don't do anything different. Just play, because just playing is what's got him to this point anyways. But he's got to he's going to get every opportunity. And if the Leafs get an empty net, I'm going to guarantee Auston Matthews out there instead of David Kampf. I don't care if it's a 6-on-3. Auston Matthews is going to be out there having a chance at the empty netter because they want this over with before tomorrow night. They don't want it to come down to the last game.
Yeah, ideally you avoid it. You've got to just tell him to keep playing the way he's been playing. He scores literally every game.
Yeah, just don't change a thing. Do it in the first period and go take your gear off. Very simple.
Every single game he scores. With Mike Johnson. So McDavid, as he said, hit 100 assists last night, and we stumbled across a hypothetical one game, like Game 7, gotta have it. McDavid in his prime or Crosby in his prime.
Oh,
who would you take?
I don't know. I'd almost say who's the opposition. Like I mean, McDavid has done some crazy stuff in his career. I know he hasn't won.
Before you answer, Johnny, Hayes said it's Sid all day long and not even in question.
Well, I mean, I think that's why Hayes is the hot take master in Pittsburgh. That's why they love him down there.
Yeah, they do love me in Pitt.
He's got a
I don't think they do.
No, they don't.
It's from Toronto.
Yeah.
Spewing off again. No, I mean, and McDavid's numbers in the playoffs are outrageous. So you can't suggest for a second it's not like he hasn't been able to come through in the clutch or tight checking or anything like that. Tie usually goes to the winner, but maybe recency bias. I mean, I think offensively, Conor McDavid does things that Sidney Crosby can't do.
Yeah, well, there's no questioning that. Now, I would counter with Sid on a forecheck, does it greater, gritty areas in tougher games, Game 7 in the playoffs.
Hardest working best player ever. Like
Absolutely.
of all the people that have been labeled the best player,
Yeah.
he is the hardest working best player ever.
Right. Like leans, wins draws defensively. Like when he was cooking, like you go back to 08, 09, but I'd even go back to 15, 16 when they won back-to-back. And you were probably in the building, Johnny. I remember watching games when they were in the Cup final, and it was like every time he was on the ice, the puck was in the other end, and he was just motoring, and the opposition was like, there's nothing I can do to stop this guy. And I understand that applies to McDavid in terms of that mentality. Of course.
You're not going to act like McDavid did put up 40 points in 20 games?
It's unbelievable.
2 playoffs ago?
And maybe it is unfair. Again, we're talking about two of the greatest players of all time. It's not McDavid versus,
me.
Okay, thank you. I'm glad you threw your name in there.
Okay.
But, we're talking two of the truly greats of all time. And I guess what it's really doing is highlighting the fact that McDavid hasn't won yet because as I said last hour, it's subject to change in 3 or 4 years if he does win a couple. But Sid's got his 3 cups, 4 cup finals, 2 Conn Smythes. Does he have 3 Conn Smythes? I mean, he's done it. We've seen it. We've seen it in the biggest moments, and McDavid hasn't been able to do that because he hasn't been in the biggest moments. But, I mean, they're both great players. They're both great players.
Just wait, though, Hayes. Give me like 15 months when McDavid wins this spring, let's just say. He wins the 4 Nations Cup, which no one will care about, and then is the best player in the Olympics. And Canada wins again. And then you're like, wait a second, that's just the trifecta of all the stuff he had. Like, there's virtually nothing he hasn't done, right? But that's the 2 things, right? The Olympics and the Stanley Cup. And, the Olympics, he hasn't had a chance. Stanley Cup, he's been really good, just hasn't happened. I think they got a great chance of doing it this year. Great chance of getting to the final this year. And if he did that, then you'd be like, okay, there's no more boxes left for him to tick. He's got them all.
I got a good feeling about a Canadian team, Johnny. I'm not sure if it's Edmonton, but I just got a vibe that somebody's going to make a move.
I think I'm very bullish on a Canadian team representing the West. Very bullish.
Ooh, I like that. Well, you got 3 of the 8 tickets out west. Like the odds should suggest it's going to happen.
And I think you got 3 of the top 5 teams from the West.
Okay.
So I'm not as sold on Vegas, Nashville, or LA. I guess those are 3 I'm leaving behind. I don't know where you guys are on Vegas right now. I know Mark Stone got to come back playing, and he changes everything for that team. Absolutely, he does. But they just haven't been as good. The last couple months. I think between Winnipeg and Vancouver and Edmonton, they have a very good chance to get to the final. One of those 3 teams.
Yeah, I agree with you. I mean, Winnipeg has played Colorado very well this year, and
Colorado's played not great down the stretch.
Right. I feel like they'll snap out of that. Like, I'm not as concerned about Colorado. They've kind of been. Dallas has also taken off the last couple of weeks.
Georgiev could be a dicey situation.
That's what's scary. And Hellebuyck.
Like different factors for every team. That Georgiev, he's got a lot on his plate, man, because he better be good.
Well, and in Vancouver, Demko's back, but it's late. He's going to get 1 start in, I believe, before Game 1. I
think he's playing their next game. Is it tonight they're playing? I think he's playing tonight.
Yes, he is. He's playing their next game. That I believe has been announced, which is really, really significant.
Not a lot, but
it's nerve-wracking.
It is.
But think about, though, like if we remember last year, now Demko's not nearly as old or as experienced, but sometimes forced rest, so long as you're healthy, cannot be a terrible thing. Like Bobrovsky didn't play the last 8 games of the season last year because he was sick and then he wasn't playing. And I think that was a big part of the reason why he was so good in the playoffs. He was fresh. He never gets like 3 weeks off to end the season. Demko will have gotten a month off here after playing a ton at a really high level earlier in the year. I think that could be good if he gets back to, like, if he gets sharp again prior to the playoffs, then he should be very well rested, kind of able to go on a deeper run of high quality than if he had to play 65 games all the way through.
Mike, if Terry Pegula, the owner of the Sabres, he came to you and he said, Mike, what are we doing wrong here? What would you tell him?
You don't know how to play defense. You have a lot of great players. You in Ottawa, we're going to have a team meeting before both of you guys. It's the same problem. Great names, not great games. And, that could be part of your speech, Joe.
That was a really good line.
But I think that's it. Like, I think their mentality, that way they had success, the way they played last year was, we'll go out there and we're going to win games by scoring the next one. We're not really going to win games by stopping the next one. And that sort of maturity of game management and situational awareness and personality, like maybe the players they have don't have the personality to play that way. But I think that's generally it. Now, they may have a goalie that they haven't had in several years. UPL was really good really for the last half of this season, maybe more. So maybe that's a starting point. But I think it's got to be a defensive mindset shift that allows them to compete in the NHL. Like no matter how much you score, like, you got to defend. You have to. And at certain times in the games, they don't make great decisions, and it hurts them.
Yeah, there's been a lot of turnover there in Buffalo, and Ottawa.
How many coaches has Rasmus Dahlin had?
Oh boy,
6.
Yeah, I mean, we listed through it last hour. Since Lindy Ruff was let go in 2013, and Dahlin wasn't there at that point, they've had, who have they had? They've had Ron Rolston, Ted Nolan, Dan Bylsma. I think Bylsma was there his rookie year.
Yeah.
Who was it?
Housley.
Wow.
So Phil Housley was, okay, so Housley, Kruger, Granato, this will be his 4th.
They're just burning through coaches, man. It's like, It's got to stop.
Yeah, you got to find someone that can solidify things and get them playing properly. And they still have to add there. Their goaltending's not great. They do have they got some good individual players. It's the same thing with Ottawa, though. Like, they're obviously missing some ingredients in terms of the players and a coach that is going to solidify the way that they play.
Dangerous game if they think those young players, the same group of guys, are going to snap out of it and be world beaters next year. I'm telling you, that's a dangerous game.
Buffalo or Ottawa, who makes more changes this summer?
Ottawa.
Ottawa?
I think Ottawa. I mean, the same coach is going to get changed again. But I think Ottawa is of the mindset where
they got to shake it up.
What O just said. We can't bring the same guy back and say, Tim Stützle's going to have it all figured out, and Brady Tkachuk and, Thomas Chabot and Chychrun, and it's all going to be great. I think they've seen enough with enough different coaches, including Jacques Martin, who is the guy brought in to really challenge them and see if they can be airtight defensively. And, they kind of haven't been. There's been some games where they have, some games they haven't been. I think they're probably going to change the goalie, like the starting goalie situation. So I would think Ottawa has a lot of stuff on the table. Chychrun could be. There probably will be significant changes to the defense.
Yeah. Which, again, hopefully that works for their sake, but it also could be a scenario where now you got to find chemistry and what does it mean?
But don't you guys think,
next year?
Isn't this where the Leafs were in 16-17 or 15, whenever that was, 16-17, where they had like lots of good young players? Why did they figure it out and make it work? Like, what's the difference?
Well, I think Babcock factored in greatly. That's like his
reputation.
reputation.
Say what you want.
Yeah, exactly. Say what you want about him today. Babcock ran a tight ship.
Yeah.
And
like, they went from last to the playoffs and almost beat Washington.
Also,
Jonas, I think it's worth remembering, who's Toronto's best player?
Yeah,
Auston Matthews.
Yeah, there's no Auston Matthews.
Is he good defensively or is he not?
Yeah, right.
He is. Like, we're going to fawn all over him for 4 hours about 70 goals.
Yeah.
He's a very, very good defensive player. Mm-hmm. And so when your best player, and neither team has a guy even remotely as good as Nylander or Marner, like, you know what I mean? Let alone Auston Matthews. But when your best player as a forward is also really good defensively, I think that helps sort of the transition of, okay, it's great to score. We're all going to get paid because we could score. That's what happened in Toronto. It's what happened in Ottawa. It's what happened in Buffalo. All their top guys have all gotten paid long-term massive contracts for scoring. But I think Austin and I think Mike Babcock as well, like reinforcing the idea that scoring alone is not enough to win. We have Mitch Marner as a Selke candidate, the finalist last year. Like he certainly gets votes. Like their top guys are than the other two teams, than Ottawa or Buffalo.
Yep. Yeah, and I guess they had the right vets too. They kept the right guys.
Yeah,
right. Bozak, Kadri, they had veteran guys. Riley was there. Yeah. All right, Johnny, we're looking forward to it tonight. We'll see you on TSN 4.
All right, boys. Have a great afternoon.
There's Mike Johnson, our TSN hockey analyst, joining us here on the Maple Toyota Hotline. Check out Maple Toyota's huge truck and SUV lineup, including Tundra, 4Runner, Highlander, and Grand Highlander, in stock and ready to deliver. Visit mapletoyota.com. All right. See you on the panel tonight. The last quiz of the year, I guess, huh?
You look great coming back from Augusta.
Thanks.
I love the jacket. I love your whole mojo.
I feel good about this.
Jonas,
and I appreciate
great
that.
to see you too.
There you go. Jonas looks good. Jonas is feeling good. Right. Jonas is
and hey, when I do my first motivational speech, you guys are both invited.
Thank you. I wouldn't miss that. I cannot wait to see it.
It's a good idea. I'm not joking.
No, I'm going to do it. I'm telling you. I'm not. You guys think I'm a goof, but I'm going to do it.
I don't.
So who do we have to talk to get this going? Or do we have people reach out? But how do you filter it? You don't want to just show up at some place and
I gotta get it all put together first.
Like PowerPoint? You have a PowerPoint going? See, that's big. That's when you know you've made it. PowerPoint presentation.
Dude, just shut up, because I know you're going to say something.
I'm not saying anything.
You already said van down by the river.
That was before you sold me on the material. I thought you were just going in to talk about your golf game or whatever, which is motivating for chops, but you're talking real life stuff. Stop sending memes of Chris Farley. We don't want to see that kind of activity. People are sending in stuff that...
It's inappropriate.
Yeah, we don't need that. All right, we'll catch you on the panel. There it is, the O-Dog, Jeff O'Neill. Confirm or deny coming up. Steve Phillips on Game 2 of the Jays-Yankees series tonight. OverDrive continues, TSN 1050 and on TSN 4.
I can neither confirm or deny that this is in fact a segment.
Austin trades Andrew Raycroft to Toronto in exchange for the rights to Tuukka Rask.
It's been my honor and a privilege to serve as the general manager of the Toronto Maple Leafs Hockey Club.
It's time for Confirm or Deny.
Do you regret giving all those gentlemen the no trades or no movement clauses?
I can neither confirm or deny that.
I can't confirm or deny.
All right, Confirm or Deny is brought to you by Summit Ford and Southlake Ford Lincoln, where there are no denies, only confirms when it comes to trades. See what we did there, Jonas?
I like that.
There's nothing better than that.
As a writer, I love it.
Outstanding. Any make, any model, we will take it. Visit summitford.com or southlakeford.com. Right, Jonas?
Yeah.
All right.
All right.
Confirm or deny. Very simple stuff. Statements are made. We go around the table. And we confirm them or we deny them. Conor McDavid hit 100 assists last night. Only the fourth player in NHL history to do that. Confirm or deny, McDavid will have 100 assists in another season at some point over the next 3 years. He'll hit 100 again some point over the next 3 seasons.
Let me do some quick... My research is...
What are you trying to research, though? How can you... He just did it last night. What are you going to... He's never done it before.
Initially, my instinct is yes, 100% confirm. But then if you look to his past seasons, what do you think his high is before this year?
87.
89.
89.
And that's like he was never in the 80s.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to deny.
Yeah, and you look at history, Gretzky did it 11 straight years, which is just an absolutely absurd statistic. I believe Lemieux and Orr only did it once. So I think the answer is deny.
Yeah.
It's such a rare feat. It's such an incredible feat. Of course it's McDavid. It should be McDavid that does it. I wouldn't put it past him to creep up over 90. But when you're projecting like this, injuries come into play, who's going to be on his line, what kind of power play are you running, which is going to be electric. But you got to pick up freebies to get to 100 assists.
Yeah.
You got to pick up a lot of secondary assists and power plays.
Here's a question for you. What is more likely to happen? McDavid scores 60 again or McDavid gets 100 assists again?
I think
assists.
I think it's assists as well. I think he had his massive goal scoring year. Because this year he's got, 33 goals, 34? 32 goals.
Yeah, so he has half of his goals.
Yeah. Like it's been a real drop-off of goal scoring opportunities plus goal scoring.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think it's probably more likely 100 assists as opposed to 60 goals. But I don't think either one is going to happen again.
I don't know. Now that I'm changing my answer.
You're going to confirm.
I think he can do it.
You're going to confirm.
Like I think he's 27.
Oh, he's still in his prime.
Yeah, I couldn't give it to him.
It's just this was never on the radar. You and I have been doing this for a long time. I've never gone into a season asking if someone can get to 100 assists.
Yes.
It's never been a topic of discussion.
Because why would it be? It's
three guys ever. And the last time it happened was
Mount Rushmore of the league.
Yes. Or Lemieux, Gretzky. The fact that Bobby Orr is on that too is just amazing. That he played defense and had 100 assists in a season is just incredible. But that's why I'm denying. It's not even about McDavid. It's about history and how tough it is, and the fact that Orr only did it once, Lemieux only did it once. I'm going to deny it. All right, confirm and deny. The Canadian team most likely to make it through to the second round is the Vancouver Canucks.
Who are they supposed to face again? I was looking at this.
It could be Nashville, L.A., or Vegas, I believe.
And Winnipeg is going to play Colorado.
Winnipeg is locked in to play Colorado. As of now, it would be Dallas playing Vegas and Vancouver playing Nashville. So if they play Nashville in the first round, they will be favorites. They play Vegas, it'll be a coin flip.
Beat Nashville. Nashville's had like a great finish.
Mm-hmm.
Both good goalies in that matchup. Say the question again.
Okay. Confirm or deny, the Canadian team that is most likely to make it through to the second round is the Vancouver Canucks.
I'm going to deny just because I get all the other ones.
Yeah, I think that's where I'm at too. I'm denying it because I think Vancouver is going to have the most favorable matchup, unless it's Vegas and Vegas is healthy.
I just don't like that Nashville team has all those guys who won and
and
they have a goalie who can do it.
Playing great for a long time. It's going to be a tough matchup. Like that is not going to be an overwhelming odds scenario. Like I'd be curious where FanDuel has that. We should look that up, Doogie. I don't even know if you can project it yet because we don't know exactly who they're going to play, but they'll be favored. They should be favored, but I think it'll be a pretty close to a pick 'em.
Yeah.
But Vancouver also, like, they don't have the playoff history there, and this Demko scenario scares me a bit. He's been out for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
He's back now. He's going to play to wrap up the regular season. That is massive, but we've seen it with other goalies. It's a really tough position to overcome a long injury. And get sharp again. Because not only do you have to be good, you got to be great, like immediately.
Right,
So,
you're going up against Saros.
Yeah, exactly. And that scares me. Plus, I like the other three Canadian teams too. Like, it's difficult to say that Vancouver, I don't think any of them are definitively in a better place than the other three.
Yeah.
Because they're all tough matches.
How would you wager, or how would you put the odds for the Jets Avs? You'd probably say it's like 50-50 or 50.
Yeah, I think Colorado slightly favored, home ice, championship pedigree, Winnipeg's playoff history.
Yeah.
But yeah, Colorado hasn't been playing great. I personally don't think that's that big of a deal. I think they have the ability to snap out of that and move on quickly. But Winnipeg has played them really well. I think they're 3-0 against them this year. They just crushed them 7-0. That's a confidence boost, and they've got a clear-cut advantage in net, which is the most important position.
Yep.
So there's a lot going Winnipeg's way. They all four Canadian teams could be in the second round. That would be incredible. It's unlikely, but you want odds of finally ending the cup drought up here? Get all four teams into the final 8. That's going to go a long way. Okay, confirm or deny. The NHL will return a team to Arizona before they return another team to Canada.
Oh man.
Or bring an 8th team up here.
It kind of feels like they're talking about it, right? Like that they're going to go back at some point.
Mm-hmm.
What is with that? Like, why can't they quit Arizona?
It's a great question. Like, what has Arizona? It's never worked. It's never
sort
been.
of worked when they had. Remember the whiteout, and it was kind of cool. And
They were a playoff team, and they filled the building for a playoff game. That doesn't mean the finances were working. You're right that they were selling tickets, I guess, and people were there. I don't know how much those tickets were going for.
That's true.
But it's a massive market. Like, it's a big market. There's a lot of people that live there. It's growing.
But it's like, if you had a choice, if you just polled some random people on the street who don't know anything, they just know like what hockey is, and you said, where do you think you should have a team?
Mm-hmm.
In the middle of the desert, in Arizona or Canada.
It would be Canada.
It would
obviously.
be Canada.
Yeah.
But where is it going to be?
Well, that's the question. Quebec City is the one that has been waiting. I don't know what the ownership situation is like there anymore. A second team in Toronto just seems like it's never going to happen.
Yeah.
But I wonder if it would happen with a different commissioner.
Yeah, maybe.
Like that, I do think there's a Bettman element to
Different
this.
ownership here with the Leafs, maybe, too?
Yeah, I mean, I don't see why any owner would ever want that to happen. The league has always contended they have the right to do whatever. Like the Leafs, I'm sure, would contend that they own the market. It's a monopoly. Buffalo comes in here, too. There's a Buffalo factor that doesn't come up enough, that a lot of people in Southern Ontario go to Buffalo, prop them up, which sucks for Canadians, because why would you be deprived of something because of something happening in a different country? But I do think the Buffalo angle factors in. There's a lot of teams when you think from Detroit to Montreal, Detroit, Buffalo, Toronto, Ottawa, Montreal. Like that's a lot of teams within a certain region. But I'm actually going to confirm this because I do think they look at Arizona as a major, or it's not a major, it's not, in the same realm as New York or LA or Chicago, but it's like a step below that in the United States.
Yeah.
And if they're going to go back to Atlanta for a third time, why would they not go back to Arizona for a second?
Well, look at the desperate measures they were willing to go just to try to keep this alive.
Yeah.
Like letting their team play in a college hockey rink.
It's really embarrassing when you think about it.
Embarrassing.
Yeah, it's one of the black marks on the resume of Bettman.
100%.
The fact that he kept going to the mat for this team in multiple ownerships
and within a period of months, they went from we're going to try to build the arena here to actually a week before the season's ending, we're going to go to Salt Lake.
Yeah, screw it, we're out of here.
I don't think I answered. I'm going to confirm as well.
You're going to see, even with all that, I think we both confirm that they'll still go back to Arizona first.
Yeah.
And also you get people that have a lot of money that look at, although I don't know where that billionaire has been in Arizona that can save this team and build their own hockey rink in the right place in downtown Phoenix.
Do you think the guy here will factor into whatever they do, where they can say there would be no Auston Matthews if there was no team in Arizona?
There probably isn't. He's
Because
probably
it's
playing
true.
baseball.
100% it's true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's probably playing baseball or something.
Does that
I don't
weigh
think
you at all?
I don't think you can build a business that way because there's a lot of Canadian teams from market in Quebec City. There's Canadians that live in Quebec City that are great players that are going to make it to the NHL. Anyone thinking about them?
No, it's true.
Yeah. It sucks, though. It sucks for that market because, you got Nyes, too. You have Matthews and Nyes who are both from that area.
Yeah.
And look what's going to happen here. Confirmed or denied, Conor McGregor will still be a massive draw for the UFC. You hear he's coming back?
Did you watch Roadhouse?
I have not seen it.
The new one?
No, I have not seen it.
He is in it.
Not a fan of his acting
Not
skills?
the best.
He is not a great actor.
Why would that be surprising to anybody?
I don't know. It was pretty funny, how
awful he was as an actor.
Yeah, going up against Jake Gyllenhaal. And do you like the original Roadhouse?
Yeah, I've seen it, but it's been a long time. I don't recall. I know it's about fighting and stuff like that. I don't need Nicole's notes.
Yeah, it's okay.
To answer your question, yes, I've seen the original.
I will confirm. I still think he's a big name.
I agree with you. I'm confirming it too. I don't know if he can fight. I don't know why he's fighting. I have no idea why this guy would get back. Think about how much money he's made. Don't you get into the fight game because you're hungry to get out of whatever?
But what else is he going to do?
He's acting now, I guess.
Yeah, it didn't go well.
Right. He's probably aware that it's not going to go anywhere for him.
He was basically, his role in the thing was he was a fighter.
Mm-hmm.
That was how many
Bit
movies
of a
can you do
typecasting.
that?
Yeah, he's not winning an Oscar anytime soon. But fighting, the last time he was in there was a gruesome injury. That's going to be mentally tough to overcome. And he hasn't won anything in a long time. Remember Habib really took it to him. And that was years ago. So
how long ago was his last fight?
Well, 21, I believe it was. I don't think he's fought in 3 years.
Okay.
But he's still the biggest name in UFC, and he hasn't fought in 3 years.
Yeah.
He's bigger than anyone else associated. I know people that love the UFC will hate to hear that. But if you're talking just general society for household names, Conor McGregor is still...
Me. That's me.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
You're not breaking down you're the middleweight class and stuff. I hear what you're saying. It's McGregor is a draw. Doesn't even matter who he's fighting. Just if he is fighting and he's at a UFC event, this will be UFC 303, he will be a draw. I don't know if he can win. I don't know how it's going to work in terms of training. I don't even know if he'll get there. if something will pop up or whatever, and he won't even make it into the octagon. All right, confirm or deny, Scotty Scheffler will win at least one more major this season. 3 more on the circuit. At least one more for Scotty Scheffler.
Well, I can't forget the stat that Duthie had. I don't remember what exactly the stat was, but how much better he was.
He'd agree, he's so much better than everyone else.
Yeah, and wasn't putting the thing that he had to figure out, and now he's kind of figured that out, where he's just like, okay, he's fine.
Yep.
Confirm.
Yeah, I'm confirming it too. I could see him winning multiple majors.
Just going on a run?
I could see him walking away with 3 this year.
Oh.
Like, really, he's that good. I mean, he won the Arnie Palmer, he won the Players, and he won the Masters. He won 3 massive tournaments in 35 days. And now Liv, I get it. Liv was at the Masters, and no one was really posing a threat. What are they going to do at the PGA?
Mm-hmm. When's the last time someone...
I guess Koepka could contend.
Has anyone done that since Tiger? Like won 3?
I don't recall the last time anyone's won multiple tournaments, multiple majors in the same year. Like Spieth? Spieth would have done that in 15, I think. He won the Masters, and I think he won the Open the same year.
Okay.
Might be Spieth. Confirm or deny was brought to you by Summit Ford and South Lake Ford Lincoln, where there are no denies, only confirms when it comes to trades. Any make, any model, we will take it. Visit summitford.com or southlakeford.com. All right. Back into the NHL tonight. Lots of really compelling storylines in terms of who's going to get that last spot in the East. Matthews going for 70. The Leafs are in Florida. We'll keep teeing that up. And Steve Phillips coming up. Jays, Yankees tonight. The Jays have activated Jordan Romano and Eric Swanson. So that is significant in terms of the bullpen arms. We'll get into that and more with Steve. Overdrive continues. TSN 1050 and on the TSN app. All right, shout out to Joe from the Bridge. Joe from the Bridge is always on top of things, Jonas, as you know.
I do.
He said the last golfer to win multiple majors in the same year was Brooks Koepka in 2018. He won the U.S. Open and the PGA. Spieth did that also in 15. And Koepka's still a beast. He didn't have a good Masters, but he will show up at the U.S. Open and the PGA and be ready to play. He will be in the mix. So he can get Scheffler. He can get him. The problem is all the other guys like Rahm, I don't know where his game's at right now. McIlroy has not won a major in so long.
Isn't it 10 years?
Yeah. Like, it's been a long time since he won a major. I don't know if that's the yips. Is it a nervous thing? It's got to be because he wins tour events every single year. He wins all around the world. Just when it becomes a major, he can't get over the top, and he's been top 5 a ton, top 10. Can't find a way to close. But you see, there were rumors that he was going to live for like $850 million. I guess he spoke with Todd Lewis, the Golf Channel, today and said, no, fake news, not happening. I'm staying at the PGA. Now, that has been said before by other players.
Yeah, but no one's been like him, right?
No one's been so outspoken and disgusted by Greg Norman like McIlroy. But golf's got to figure it out because a lot of their best players just aren't playing that great. There's such a division in the game with PGA and LIV. And I think a lot of people they're just bored of it all, and they're just annoyed and aggravated, and it's too much promotion about all the money they make. It's never a good thing for sports if the biggest thing you're selling is how much money the guys are going to make.
Well, and is it not true that people don't really watch the LIV Tour?
Nobody watches LIV, to my understanding.
How long is that going to be even a thing?
They have so much money, they don't even care. Like, eventually they will.
Right.
But it sounds like the PIF and the Saudis are basically in it simply to disrupt, which is exactly what they're doing. I think their game plan is actually working. They love if LIV was popular, but it's not. They paid these guys and they got to play them somewhere. So they're like, create LIV and go play and do whatever. And it's all about trying to do as much damage to the PGA Tour as possible and suck the life out of the sport to the point where the PGA capitulate and goes, fine, come on in. And then they're in.
Wasn't that going to happen?
With LIV? Or with the Saudis, you mean?
Yeah.
Well,
wasn't there an agreement?
Yes. But originally there wasn't. Like, the original take from the PGA Tour was, you're all cast off, you're all out,
right?
Screw this, we'll take you on. And now they've been defeated, and they haven't been defeated because LIV has caught them and is a better product. They're going to be defeated because LIV just keeps plucking players and disrupting things And golf fans are like, screw it, I don't even care about this anymore, which is a horrible business practice when you think about it. If their plan is to get into the golf world with the PGA, like let's say you want to own the PGA, you want to damage the product so badly that once you get it, you got to build it back up.
It's like, isn't that a parasite kind of? You just attach yourself. Is that a parasite?
Well,
just attach it and start like kind of eating away. And
yeah, it's kind of like Elon Musk, like when he bought Twitter, and then it just became this kind of circus to an extent. But yeah, I guess that's kind of what they're trying to do, and they're just trying to poke and prod, and that's why the Rory rumors are believable now, even though he has been so forthright in his really detesting of Liv and Norman and all that stuff. But
do you think it would be worth it for if it was $750 million? You'd just be like, yeah, you know what? People can not like, I'll just have the money.
$850 million to go play in shorts with some music.
But you sell your soul.
But you do. And Rory, by all accounts, is like, I'm not doing it. I got an appreciation for that. All right, Thomas Hickey coming up on the craziness in the Eastern Conference going on tonight. We'll tell you more about that. Leafs, Panthers as well. Jays, Yankees. Steve Phillips will join us. Final hour coming up. Overdrive continues. TSN 1050, soon to be up on TSN 2.